who would have guessed that Aizen Sosuke, the one that says all according to plan, would be the cause of Ichigo's parents getting together? He is literally a pro shipper. The man literally got, like, kind of horny on main just seeing the fact that Kurosaki, got with Ichigo's father. And just everything about that is just hilarious. It is legitimately hilarious when you really just take a step back and you think about this ending sequence with Aizen just talking about everything. It's pretty funny because, like, this man's like, oh yes, this hollow went after a Quincy, the exact opposites of each other, and basically thanks to this happening and those two characters getting together is kind of why Ichigo is in such a very weird place within, like, his power, etc. throughout the entire story of Bleach. So I don't know, just this entire sequence is pretty funny. I know it probably wasn't intended to be funny, but I think anyone just really taking a step back and looking at just how Aizen legitimately is the cause and reason to why, Ichigo Kurosaki is alive and born is, like I said, it's pretty funny. So, anyways, let's take it back, like a back step. Let's talk about this episode, what it kind of let us know, and really just kind of see how long Tite Kubo was really just setting up this whole reveal with, just like Ichigo being a Quincy. So, this right here I'm showing on screen, this is a very old panel, or old scene within the manga, and also in the anime. Basically, to kind of context here, Ichigo was squaring up to Aizen, and Aizen was about to kind of talk about Ichigo's backstory. I've known you from the moment you were born. Ichigo gets a little bit shocked, and then all of a sudden you see, Ichigo's father step in to kind of interrupt, and this is before, like, the final fight with Aizen. So, you can see that Tite Kubo was setting this up for a very long time. This reveal that Ichigo obviously is a Quincy. So I think, honestly, this is really nice to just see how long this was planned up to that very point, that he was already willing to set up, basically, like, Ichigo's, entire family, or, who his mother really was. It's fascinating. I really like that. But getting back on topic, though, the point is that we finally get a little bit more details on Ichigo's mother, Masaki. And I think that it's very important because one of the big details of Ichigo's character is that the reason why he acts like he does and all that, it kind of stems from how he was unable to protect his own mother and how his mother died. He was kind of traumatized as a kid, just everything about that. So when you see her finally, for the first time, she's living, she's not dead, her name is not in passing or just mentioned here and there, or Ichigo's not visiting her grave, when you actually see her for the first time, it's very emotional and fascinating because it's like, I wonder, who she really is. What is this person? Who is this person? What did she do? How did, Ichigo's father and mother really meet? And we get to see that, and it's just such a fascinating story, kind of seeing that, a Soul Reaper and a Quincy got together thanks to circumstances, and it's kind of like a Romeo and Juliet type story when you really think about it. Two pairs that were not supposed to actually get together, because from what we found out, obviously, throughout the story of Bleach, is that the Soul Reapers attack the Quincy's attack the Soul Reapers, and they just been at odds and war with each other for a very long time. And so seeing the fact that, Masaki, Kurosaki came in and saved, Ichigo's father is a big detail. It shows that, they wanted to bury the hatchet. They didn't want to care about that, blood war anymore, which reference to the arc 1,000-Year Blood War, and they wanted to be together. And I think it's a very beautiful sequence of events that just shows how Ichigo eventually came to be. Who would have thought that Aizen, of all characters, would technically be the cause of one of the most wholesome relationships, so to speak? These two characters, even though we know how it ended and kind of the grand schemes of Aizen, these two characters kind of burying the hatchet and getting together is pretty amazing. Now, let's talk a little bit more in detail to the whole, like, hollow that we saw in this episode. Obviously, when we take a look at the hollow that was being fought in this episode, it's very apparent how he looks. I think anyone will definitely key in on his overall design, that he looks exactly like Ichigo's hollowed form. Like, anyone that remembers the Ulquiorra fight when Ichigo went kind of hollow and went crazy, the overall design of the hollow legitimately does look like it. And I think everybody's going to see that, and it's not necessarily anything that's, like, crazy, like, obscure. It's pretty freaking obvious, especially when the name was dropped, and he was called Shiro, aka White, which basically was the name of Ichigo's hollow that we saw a while back within the story. So, so when we see all these little details kind of mentioned within this episode, we get to kind of find out the origin story of why Ichigo had the hollow like he did. You know, how this all came to be, etc. And also what makes this even more fascinating is that Quincy's and hollows are enemies of each other. And the fact that Ichigo is a Quincy, a hollow, and even a Soul Reaper on top of that is pretty amazing. Like, it shows like this, he's a mixed bag of everything. He literally is the culmination of every single race within the Bleach series. And I think that's cool. I think that's really cool, and it does explain his extraordinary power and how he is. He's kind of like a balance, so to say. He's the balance of all sides because of what he really represents. Now, speaking of a few things, I do like how this episode really just showcases, you know, the old trio squad. For instance, like Aizen's group, we get to see Tosin and all that Gin. And it's just, it's a really great scene. Because it's like, we haven't seen these three characters in a while. Like, it's been years. Like, if we really want to just take a step back and think, like I've been saying in my videos, it's been 10 years since we've had a Bleach anime. And, you know, it's been like about 6 or 7 years since we had the manga. And so when you think about, like, how long it's been since we've seen these three characters together, it's emotional, honestly. Yeah, they're the bad guys, yeah, they're the antagonists, but seeing these three together, the voice actors kind of reprising their roles and voicing these characters once again, it's honestly incredible to see. I'm happy to see these three characters once again side by side and just figuring out their plans, their master plan, what led up to the events in Bleach throughout the, you know, the major first arc of the story. Now, speaking of voice actors, I found something out very recently. The voice actor to Masaki, which is, you know, Ichigo's mother, apparently, this is the same voice actor that actually voice acted her years ago, like 17 years ago. I found that out recently, like earlier today, and I was just like, wait, really? Like, the same voice actor that voiced her that long ago for the very brief moment, like, legit, if you go back, literally, she has so few lines within the story. It's amazing that the voice actor came back to voice the same character after all these years and still sounds the exact same. It's pretty impressive, honestly. Great VA work, and honestly, I feel like the voice actors are kind of the underdogs within anime, because oftentimes people will be quick to look at, let's say, the art and animation, or even the story content, which, yes, it's important, but I feel like a lot of people kind of sometimes just miss out on what really kind of makes an anime so good sometimes, is the voice acting. And I'm loving the voice acting of Bleach. This is a really good episode. All the voice actors did a fantastic job with conveying the emotions, etc., and even in the comedy skits. I love it. Like, this is a legitimately good episode. We get a little bit more origin story to Squad 10. Just, yeah, I don't know. This is a good episode. Now, speaking of which, one thing I do want to talk about is also this character right here. I really like the fact that she's basically like an older sister figure to Ichigo, and even though it's a very brief scene, I wish we had more content of her, because I feel like she's a really great character. She is a human character, obviously, and when we see her interact with Ichigo, it kind of draws out this more human side to Ichigo, which I think is very important, because obviously, yes, we like to see him being a Soul Reaper, or a Hollow, or now a Quincy, technically. But the point is that Ichigo is fundamentally human at the same time. He has a lot of human emotion, and he is grounded. And I feel like scenes like this, when he's talking to someone that's obviously just a regular human, and doesn't really know about the grand scheme of things, of what's going on in Soul Society, or, you know, anywhere else throughout the different realms, etc., you know, it brings him back down to earth, and realizing his origins of who he really is. And this is a very beautiful scene to kind of allow him to function and clear his head. And like I said, I wish we got more scenes like this, because I think some of the best scenes within Bleach, truthfully, is scenes like this. Getting to see Ichigo kind of in the human world and interacting with just regular humans. Because I think it allows him to really develop and kind of be free from the constant chaos within his life. But that's my 2 cents. I know not everybody's going to agree with that one. But overall, I think that this episode truly is fantastic, to the lighting, to the backstory of some of our Quincy characters within the story, to maybe even the origin story of Ashita. I think that it's just legitimately a really good freaking episode. And it's only going to get better. I can't wait for the next episode. Oh my goodness, I legit cannot wait. But, tell me your thoughts. How do you guys feel about the origin story of Ichigo's parents getting together, and that Aizen technically was shipping them since the very beginning? It's kind of funny, honestly. It's legit funny. But okay, I'll leave it at that. Thank you so much for watching. You all have a fantastic day or night wherever you live. Be safe, stay healthy. Chibi out.